And in this one, it's 1 point to the first rider across the line each lap. And then, of course, the rider with the most number of points at the end will be declared the winner. And if you take a lap on the field, you'll get 10 points automatically. And this one, I can tell you, after a few laps, starts to get really complicated. The men's Omnium tempo race, second discipline in the 4-discipline Omnium event.
I think it's 20 points if you take a lap.
Could be 20.
Yep.
Should check that.
Yep. And I've raced it many times, so you would think that I have no right down to correct you. But yes, this is the tricky one, because if you're first across the line, you get 1 point. But if you're second across the line, you get nothing. So if you're going to go for that sprint, you're going to have to make sure you win it. Because if you come second, then that's a lot of effort for no points. So it's a risky one. Sometimes you see people going for multiple sprints in a row for each lap, and they keep getting second. And if they do that, it just means they're still on zero. So you got to time it right. A lot of the riders will attack off the front just before a sprint, and then maybe try and get a couple in a row. Lots of riders head off the front, and if they're away, then the peloton gets nothing. So then a lot of the peloton decide to wait for that group to come back, so then they can head off the front and start getting points themselves. So it does get really confusing. It's really tricky out there. But no, it's a very exciting race.
And unfortunately, Shansuke Imura is unable to come onto the start line. So he was the rider that crashed in the scratch race. So that's unfortunate for the Japanese rider that he's unable to continue. After this, it will be the elimination event for them, and then into the points race at the end. So lining up in the order they finished the scratch race. So we can see Lindsay de Wilde at the top of the track. So he gets the advantage of, well, he doesn't have a holder to push him off. There he is. He's the current standings leader of the men's Omnium. But he does have the height advantage to come down the track to get himself up to speed if required. And like we see in the elimination we saw last night, they are pretty quick right from the start, because it is important to pick up those early points just to keep themselves right up high. A couple of neutral laps to start with.
Yeah, they get 5 neutral laps to start. But you can go off the front if you want. So some riders head off the front and hope that they've got a big enough gap and they can hold on. Sometimes I've seen someone head off the front and they stay away for 4 laps, and then they get brought back. And then it's a lot of energy to use without getting any points. Thomas Boudard from France.
Here we go, men's Omnium tempo race. Second part out of 4, second part out of 4, rolling out. Bapak Ibu hadirin sekalian, men's Omnium tempo race. Balap kedua dari 4 babak Omnium. Memuji daya tahan para atlet dunia 40 putaran.
Did Paul look very relaxed on the start line before? He was having a laugh with his coach. It's funny to see what people like to do before each start. The serious ones and then the relaxed ones. So he's riding in the green skin suit for team. It's not Team GB, but it's the
Big round of applause from Jakarta International Velodrome. Bapak Ibu sekalian berikan tepuk tangan paling meriah untuk nomor uji daya tahan kali ini, Men's Omnium Tempo Race. Dua pembalap coba lepas dari peloton.
Yep.
Satu pembalap dari Malaysia dan satu pembalap dari Austria coba lepas dari.
Oh, now the Malaysians should work with him. They want to stay away. They've got 2 more laps to get through before they start making points. So they've got a bunch of 6 coming out after them. So they're going to hope that those guys stay away. So they've got 1 lap to go. That was the bell. So next lap, first across the line gets a point.
Bel sudah berbunyi, maka lap berikutnya sampai lap terakhir adalah sprint. Setiap sprint, pembalap hanya diambil satu saja untuk mendapatkan 1 poin sampai finish.
This is where you'd see Malaysia stay down the entire lap and try and get that point, but you'd hope that Waffler doesn't come around to get that point, as he's going to fight him for it.
Masih tetap 2 pembalap di depan, Austria dan Malaysia, namun tertangkap oleh Jason Wu. Austrian rider Tim Waffler, he's ahead with 2 points still. Sprint number 3, Canadian Mathias Guillemette.
Here's Campbell Stewart, so he's on the front, so he'll stay down there and try and get this next point. And that group of 4 are going to try and stay away. Just stay as smooth as they can, share those points, keep the pressure on.
There's also sprint number 5, Campbell Stewart, New Zealand. Scores 1.
So João Mathias coming through. Oh no, he got rolled. He got rolled by, he did.
Result sprint number 6, Lindsay de Vilder from Belgium, scores 1.
Ooh. So now this is when the race is on. So you've got big gaps starting to form. You see Thomas Bedard has noticed there's a big gap and it's a threat. So he's the one with the red fluoro helmet on from France. It's hard to see, but he's missed the move along with Aya Hashimoto. They're bridging that gap.
Sprint number 8, Campbell Stewart from New Zealand. Sprint number 9, Christian Hoxton from Netherlands. From Malaysia, Hazim Alias loses points in the finish.
Ooh. Now there's some gaps starting to open up. So you've got Tidball and you've got Campbell Stewart in a group of 2. João from Portugal, he was, you could see he was starting to struggle because he swung up at the same time from second wheel, so he wasn't wanting to do another lap on the front. And now the gap is opening up behind them, but we have De Vilder has noticed the threat as well. He's starting to come across, so they've got their group of 3. Campbell. And they're about to actually take a lap on the field. So it depends what the commissaires declare as the field. So it's whoever's got the biggest amount of riders. And if they take that lap, they get an extra 20 points. So they've done a really good job. They've got the 3, 2, and 2. So they're in, oh no, Campbell Stewart's on 4 now. So once he takes that lap, he'll be on 24.
Campbell Stewart from New Zealand leads ahead with 4 points, ahead of Tim Waffle from Austria, 2 points, Lindsay de Vilder from Belgium, 2 points. Halfway in, kita sudah separuh jalan 20 lap atau 20 putaran. Ayo berikan tepuk tangan, berikan semangat untuk para pembalap di nomor 10 Omnium Tempo, please.
So that means that Philip Heinen is now, would you say, in the lead? He's just gone off the front. Or is this group of three at the front? It's really hard to keep an eye on everything at the same time.
5 riders gained 20 points. Campbell Stewart, New Zealand. New Zealand, Belgium. Mathias Guillemette, Canada. William Titball, Great Britain. Hansen, Tobias Hansen, Denmark. Leading up with 24, 22, 21 points at the top 5. 17 putaran lagi. Sementara satu masih Campbell Stewart dengan 24 poin. Di Battalion Sheffield dari Belgia, Mathias Guillemette dari Kanada, William Titball dari Inggris dan Tobias Hansen dari Denmark dengan poin 22, 22 dan 21.
All right, so now Hayden is in the lead. So those two riders have joined. So they're on the back. So we have one rider in front now. So yeah.
This time around.
So Heinen is sitting just off the back. Whether he will stay there for a few more laps to gain a few more before he joins on, because he is currently on, this is him going across now, so 4 points he'll be on 4, which means that if he takes a lap, he'll be equal first with Campbell Stewart. So if I was him, I would try and stay for 1 or 2 more laps, but then it's a risk, because if that peloton really hits it and you don't actually make that lap, you could risk not getting those 20 points. So he's done enough now, he's on 25.
And on the back of the peloton as well. So another 20 points added. So there's a fantastic ride from him. How much did it cost him? 12 laps to go now in the men's tempo race.
Yep, so now his job is to sit on the back of that wheel and follow it. And it is so painful when you've done all that effort and now the peloton is strung out. So he's just going to, you can see him hanging on.
Ouch. You can see the pain, the body language and the grimace on the face.
Yeah, that is his only job. That's his only job. Oh, there's a crash. There's a crash.
Oh, he's gone down as well. So 3 riders going down, including the discipline leader in Philip Heinen, straight over the top, just as he was struggling to hold the wheel. Now he's touched down. And they have neutralised the race because there are riders strewn around the first bend. And they're in an unsafe position, so they have had to neutralise the race. You can see here, trying to backpedal, move around and go over the top.
No way.
Oh, that's really unfortunate.
This is the thing, once these riders are in the red, it's really hard. And they're like, he was looking at the wheel, that's all he was doing. And these mistakes happen. A clip of the wheels, someone goes down and there's nowhere to go. So yeah, it's really intense. When you're in the red, the mistakes start to happen. And big shame for him, because he was looking like he was going to win that race.
Still could. If he's not too badly injured, he can get himself back up and going again. You can see Anton Sakharov from Kazakhstan just limping a little bit because he was absolutely T-boned by Philip Heinen. Rode straight into his back and then up over the top. And you can see it here. Just as you were just talking about how hard it had been for him to hold onto the wheel and then bang into the back of Sakharov and over and down.
Ouch.
Alias from Malaysia is the rider on the outside in the black colours that's also hit the deck.
And so it's only 11 laps to go, but they've neutralised the race just for safety reasons. Sometimes if the rider jumps up straight away and they can get back in within 5 laps, they don't neutralise the race. So this is, rider safety is of everyone's concern, and it's the most important thing right now. So as you see, the riders are starting to come off the track. They might grab a drink, do whatever they can to recover.
And 11 laps to go. So that's the race has been neutralised with 11 laps to go. What it does do, though, it also, for the riders that didn't go down, that don't have to try and recover from the bruises that have just been sustained, then some of the other riders, the faster sprinters, they get some nice recovery now. This is a race in 2.
Yeah, I would say that this scenario suits the people who have just taken a lap. So the ones that have just gone into the red, they're exhausted from just taking that lap. That suits them. The people that were sitting back waiting to attack, it's not going to help them. So the ones that aren't on many points, I think this is actually a lot worse for them because now the others are going to be fresher.
So the overall standings as it stands, Philip Heinen, let's just hope that he can get himself back out onto the track. He leads on 24 points ahead of Campbell Stewart, the former world champion, on 24. Lindsay de Velde, the overall classification leader, he's on equal third position with 22 points with Guillemette and Tidbull. And there's Hoppazak, the second of the Dutch riders, is in equal sixth position. So still very close between all of the riders, and this is something great to see. Not all the bruises and the dirt from the side, but it's just good to see that he's back up on the bike. Shake of the head, he cannot believe what just happened. Took a lap on the field, was absolutely digging deep to just hang back in there, and then went down.
Yeah.
That's racing.
Yeah, when you got your head down looking up, it's there's not a lot you can do. But yeah, it was quite interesting, even just during our commentary where we were trying to work out if the three riders were in front or if he was in front. So apologies for that. It's quite hard even for us to see what's going on at every moment because riders are going out the back of this race at the same time as riders are going off the front, and you're too busy looking at the one that's almost about to take the lap and someone else is out there. So yeah, it gets tricky. So apologies for our confusion.
And you will notice that they're lining the riders up again to restart, but in the first start order, not in the current positions that they stand in this tempo race, but going back to the way they started this race. And there's Campbell Stewart, former world champion.
It's quite
second place overall. He's in good position at the moment, Nettie.
Yeah, he looks good. He's very experienced in this. He won the world title in 2019. He's done many.
Sitting in third position overall, Lindsay de Velde, but also the overall standings leader. So he's won the scratch race, 40 points to his overall tally, but now sitting in third, just ahead of Sebastian Mora. Such an experienced track cyclist, great on the road as well, riding for the Cofidis team.
And we're just waiting for the track to be fixed as well, so they're currently making sure that there's no scratches or dents or divots that could cause a problem for the riders. Quite interesting that they're actually lined up in the same order that they were at the start, but they're all on the fence. So last time they were down with their holders, whereas now they're all squeezed up the top of the track.
He had a nasty blow, Anton Zakharov, and we saw Heinen go right into his back as he went over the top. So let's hope that all those riders are okay.
Yep, Abdul Azim Alias from Malaysia is up on the fence as well in the black skin suit.
Incredible to think sometimes, isn't it? The speeds they're travelling and how hard they've gone down, yet all three riders battered and bruised, but they're still back out there. Haven't broken anything and they will continue. So that just shows the courage and the toughness of these riders.
Yeah, it's pretty intense. They'd be going about 55k an hour, I reckon, straight down onto the track. So we'll have to deal with those burns and bruises later. Sometimes it's time for a quick skin suit change if you've ripped a big enough hole, but yeah, they all look like they're up and okay.
And I could guarantee you that most of these riders would have preferred to roll the legs out a little bit, just keep the legs going, but they have had to stop as we look at Roger Kluge, former world champion. What I'm also noticing off to the side, though, is Zakharov from Kazakhstan has walked off the track. So just as we announced that all those three riders from the crash are going to continue, unfortunately, Anton Zakharov has left the velodrome. So, and he was holding his back as well, which is exactly where the overall leader, Philip Heinen, ran into. So that's really unfortunate for the Kazakh. Zakharov is unable to continue. Looks like we're not too far away from restarting. 11 laps to go, the men's tempo, the second discipline within the four-discipline Omnium event. Furious discussion going on between the race officials. And the track repairs certainly have been done.
They're bumping up the track laps. Looks like it's 16 to go now.
And fair, if they give them a couple of laps to settle back in again.
Yeah, 4 neutral laps, yep.
So 4 neutral laps, thank you Wayne Pomaro. And then they'll be back into it. And especially with all the riders lined up along the fence, they will get really strung out really quickly right from the start, just as they roll down. So that's very fair to give them 4 neutral laps, Nettie.
Yeah, I think so. Just to get a bit of sense of calm. as much calm as you can make it.
That was Tim Waffler there. They were just looking at the Austrian. He's started 2 races so far, attacked right from the start of both. Is he going to attack again now? I wouldn't be surprised if he has another go at it.
Yeah, why not? Why not? Some tired legs out there, although they've just had a bit of a break. Some of them might be a bit more fresh. I would be interested to know what some of the coaches have said. Some of them would have said, all right, change a tactic, or do we just stick to the plan?
Okay, time to reset, get themselves going. So one rider, unfortunately, Zakharov from the crash of 3, has not been able to continue. Philipp Heinen, the leader of the tempo at the moment, on 25 points. He was able to get back out there and going again. He really did need the rest as well. He didn't need the crash, but he would, if his body's okay after that crash, because he was really under the pressure, wasn't he? He did a solo lap, got on, and then they were really starting to fire things up again. Had to dig very deep.
Yep.
So it might have been just what he needed to give himself a really good shot now to go for the overall victory in this particular tempo race. There he is, right in the middle from the Netherlands. We'll keep a close eye on Philipp Heinen just to see what he looks like on the bike now after being so battered, bruised, but fortunately not broken. They'll come now to get 15 laps to go. Still within the opening neutral laps.
Yep, so remember at 11 is when the points start to be given out.
First attack coming. It's coming from Portugal.
Mathias. So he's off. This is a good move.
Waffler was sitting on front of the peloton. There he is, the Austrian. And Mathias stealing his thunder, going for that attack right from the start. Still not picking up points yet, though, so still within those first opening 4 laps. You'll be hoping to stay away until the points are starting to be allocated again.
Yeah, so João Mathias, he took a lap before. He was suffering a little bit out there. I said he was second wheel when he swung up and went to the back, but that was smart because it meant that he was able to take that lap with that group. He got the 20 points, but now he is hungry for more. So that was the bell, which means that next lap he will get another point. So this is a really good move.
And the peloton for the first time staying huddled together.
Campbell Stewart's looking interested.
1 point to Mathias. So
he's got a good
moved
gap.
up. Yep.
He's already got about 2/3 on the track. But there you go. There's Scott. You're up.
There he is, Tim Waffler, the Austrian. But with Mathias off the front, this is going to be a big move from Waffler from Austria. No points to be gained from this unless he can get right around to Mathias from Portugal.
And Sebastian Moore has gone straight around. So Sebastian looks really good. He's hit across, gone straight around, and he is on the chase.
And we see him do this a lot on the track. He really is an aggressive rider, Mora. Still, as he crosses the line, no points for him, with Mathias still up around the corner, picking up each lap, 1 point, 9 laps to go, 8 laps to go now as he comes down the straight. There's Graham Frisley, the Australian, trying to get into this race as well.
Yeah, Mathias's pace has dropped though. I think it won't be long before Mora catches him. But Mathias has done enough. He's got enough points. He'll be happy with that. So Sebastian Moore is coming around now. So now Sebastian will get this point. And there's 7 laps to go. So 7 more points on offer.
And Moore is sitting on 21 points. There are 3 on 21. And still right up on top is Heinen on 25. So another look across the track there from Seb Mora. Another point gained as well. Colby Langer, though, is the American rider that's gone out after Mora, trying to get up to the back wheel. Mora, another point gained as he comes around this time as well in front of everybody. 5 laps to go now. Sebastian Mora leads the way. Colby Langer from the United States in second position. Huge effort from Langer, but no points being gained. And there's a big chase coming from behind as well. Thibault from Switzerland leads a group of 4.
So Langer's on 0 at the moment, so he's going to have to try and catch Sebastian and get that point before the group behind him catches him.
And it's not going to happen,
No.
Nettie. It is not going to be happening because there's Mora still out in front. He's going to struggle to hold on as well as we see.
See De Wilde
De Wilde up around the outside. He catches Mora as well. So there's another point to the overall classification leader, Lindsay De Wilde. And he's really going on with this.
So 3 laps to go, 3 points on offer.
And there's another point for him.
And he's going to
2 to go as they came through. So he'll come around. He's got 2 more scoring opportunities. And the gap's really opening up. So it does look it's going to be Lindsay De Wilde all the way through to the finish now.
And Lindsay's in 2nd place at the moment. So with this point, he'll be in equal first.
And there's a big race coming from behind as well. It's Ollie Wood that's trying to come around the outside and trace down De Wilde down the back straight. Quarter of a lap to go. Will De Wilde hold on for the last one? He will, because Ollie Wood realised he wasn't going to get there. So another point going to Lindsay De Wilde.
They've just changed the standings, so now De Wilde's back on 23. So then I think Evans is on 24.
Wait for the official standings, but regardless, he won the scratch race and he was very strong finishing this one off as well in the tempo. Super fast those last few laps and just getting all those extra points at the end.
Absolutely, and that's where the final position across the line makes a big difference, because if you're on equal points with somebody else, that your placing will come from that final result. So there were a lot of riders on 0. That's when that final sprint makes a big difference. There's a few riders on 24, a few on 22. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see what it comes down to.
By my calculations, we do have the winner there in Philip Heinen on 25 points. So hats off to him to have to come out with a crash as well. But he has won the tempo race. But then there were 4 riders stacked up on 24 points. The first of those was Lindsay De Wilde across the line. So he does come away with 2nd ahead of Campbell Stewart. Then it's Sebastian Mora and Joao Matias. They're the 4 riders that were on 24 points, with Matias finishing in 5th place. Ollie Wood, the next one on 22, and he was in 6th place.
Yes, that was why his move was so good, because there are about 5 of them on equal 22 points. So yeah, it's not over until everyone crosses across that line. Okay.
That is a winner of a bike race that is not looking very happy at all.
No, that looks like a lot of pain.
Ouch. Let's just hope that he can come back out and continue into the elimination and then, of course, the points race as well. Lindsay De Wilde, though, he continues to lead the overall classification as well after winning the scratch race, and now 2nd in the tempo race. So the Belgian rider really on fire, with 2 more disciplines to come within the men's Omnium. Here it is here. And you can see just starting to backpedal. This is the crash from earlier on, and then bang into the back of Zakharov. And the tempo leader, after taking a lap on his own and having to dig so incredibly deep, sliding down the boards. So unfortunate, but gutsy to get back up and continue without losing a lap afterwards. You can see the damage though. He's not a happy chappy at the moment as he's going back to the Dutch pits. There's the overall standings now, with the 1st and a 2nd. Lindsay De Wilde is leading on 78 points, handy 8-point lead over Sebastian Mora. Then it's Campbell Stewart in 3rd place on 66, down to Will Tidball and Ollie Wood, the 2 Brits, and Thomas Boudin in 6th place. Philip Heinen, after winning that, down there just behind them as well. As we go further down the rankings, as you go down a little bit further, regardless of the next 2 disciplines, really difficult to try and get back up into the medals when you're so far down, Maddie.
Yeah, it will be difficult.
Including Roger Kluger, only on 9 points, former world champion.